Give a big round of applause to Miss Jessie Flower. That appa is killing me. That's awesome.
Hello.
And please give a big round of applause to Mr. Jack Sena. Anywhere you want to sit, sir.
Hello!
Really nothing for that? He said hello. Come on. Whew. So welcome to our show.
Thank you for having us.
It's great to have you guys. I know these people are obviously here because they're fans of Last Airbender.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Last Airbender, so it is awesome to have both of you here.
Yeah, so am I. I'm also a fan of Avatar: The Last. Yeah, we're both fans of Avatar: The Last.
Not just because you're in it. You're not just pimping the show. You're actually.
No.
Oh,
No.
good.
It was a very cool experience of like, you're involved in the show, but I'm just playing a voice. I just like I was getting to read the scripts like anyone else was watching the show, and I was a big fan of that, of just like getting an email with a script and getting to go like, oh, this show's good.
It was actually a solid show. I mean, that was a show. It's a show for all ages, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah,
I remember my
truly.
buddy's little boy. He's 2 years old, bouncing around on the couch watching it. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, my niece right now is 5, and she's like, she comes over to my place. She's like, Uncle Joe, can I watch Avatar Aang? And just put on whatever episode, and she's super happy. And the most recent episode was the Foo Cuddly Poops
there you go.
episode. So
Very nice.
I was actually really nervous as I got older because I don't know, I hadn't watched it in a while. It's been, 13 years, something like that, 14 years. It's been a second. And I rewatched it all this last July, and I was like, oh, this still rocks.
it does.
Great, it holds up. We can just keep watching it forever, so I'm a big fan.
to this day, the introduction of the show where they do all the fire, and Aang's rolling around the air skater and he
Yeah.
hits the statue. Oh!
Every
I
time.
laugh every time to this day.
Every time.
It's such a good show. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. I mean, and here you go. Here's the following. Even got Appa in the audience.
I know, you look
very nice.
fantastic. You all look fantastic, by the way.
Yep, my dude. Yep.
So cute.
So right on.
I've also met a fair number of Tophs. Those of you who have come to the autograph booth so far, you look amazing, and thank you.
Yeah, some really awesome cosplay out there.
Super, super great.
Right on. Nope. Any boomerang guys out there?
No.
Any?
None I saw. None
No?
I saw. It's okay. It's okay.
We got
Tried. What happened?
we got more days left.
I think he went more Black Widow than
You, eh?
Sokka.
We do.
Oh. Right on. Well, so I mean, 13 years. I mean, that's pretty solid. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still a popular show. They still show it. I mean, you got a sequel out of it. Legend of Korra was fantastic.
How many of you guys watched it when it was first coming out? Like episode to episode, yeah? Yes, that's amazing. How many of you are newbies, like just started watching it in the last year or two? Anyone? We got a few new ones? Okay,
Yeah,
so
there's a
we're
couple.
all OG here. Amazing.
How many of you
Except
have
for a
never
few.
seen it and just wanted a chair? You were just excited to find somewhere to sit.
You are also valid.
It's nice to
Welcome.
sit down. It's
Thank
nice
you.
to sit
yes.
down.
It's
No,
also
welcome
a
to the
great
panel.
show. Would recommend watching it, and when you have time.
It was solid. I mean, the character building on that show, the story, it was strong. It was
Yeah.
really well done.
The character building stuff was such a pleasant surprise and an honor, where it's like, we made the pilot and it was like, oh, this is super cool, this is a super fun world, and then as the show kept going, I'm just going like, no, we're really getting to explore some stuff and build this character and stretch and grow and try new aspects and explore all these different parts of this character.
I'm
It was so
jealous
fun.
of season 1 because I feel like there's just so much crucial background and kind of fan building. And I mean, I know I came in still relatively early in the process, of course. But I mean, when I was rewatching it, I was like, oh, look at all these fun bonding moments that I'm just so not here for. But that's fine.
Had the show started airing before you were cast, and had you seen any of it?
Yeah, well, yes. So I actually played Mang in season
right,
1.
right.
Yeah. She was like obsessed with Aang and like crazy and thick pigtails. Yeah, that was me. So when I went in to record that part, they really liked me, and I don't think they'd made Toph a girl yet. I think
No,
it was
Toph
still
was-
supposed to be a large, bulky, the boulder, basically. That's
Yeah.
who was going to
That
be
was the
Toph.
original idea.
Yeah.
You mean Randy Savage?
Yes, correct. And so then when they made her a girl, they're like, okay, who should play this? And we just had a great time recording Mang, and they're like, oh, bring Jessie back in. And so then I read for Toph, and that's how that happened. But I actually didn't watch TV yet. We didn't have cable, so I didn't really know what. Yeah, I know. So I read
Welcome
the
to the dark
scripts
ages.
again, like you said, the scripts for each episode. I would get them, and sometimes they would have the episodes animated, and so we would kind of do it with the animation. And sometimes I would just get the script, so I'd be like, I know what's happening, but I don't have a TV to watch it on. So I would watch it at friends' houses sometimes, and yeah, it was great. But yeah, so it did start coming out.
Yeah.
But I just was unaware because TV. I read books. That was so.
Nerd.
It's kind of a brag.
I know, nerd.
Well, excellent. That's great. This is your panel. You guys are here to talk to them. So we have a mic set up in the front here. I got Marco standing there. Raise your hand, Marcos. Boop.
With
If
the
you guys
blue
have
hair.
questions, please, you can go ahead and come up to the mic, line up nice and orderly. You can ask your questions of Jack and Jessie, and we'll see what they have to
please do.
say.
The Appa is so cute. You're fantastic. I love you.
Yeah, people are like, Baby Yoda, Baby Yoda. I'm like, did you ever see Baby Appa?
Baby Yoda,
Yeah,
Baby
come on.
Appa, all the way.
Hi. My question is, what's your favorite line that you guys got to record?
Ooh. My favorite line, it's sort of a large paragraph line. I forget the exact name of the episode, but it's when Sokka's in the desert tripping. Yeah. So it is, the line is, drink cactus juice. It'll quench you. It's the quenchiest. And then a lot of other insane. And that is a fantastic shirt, sir.
It is.
Maybe it's friendly.
Oh my gosh.
A giant mushroom. There's a lot. Like I said, it's a long line. There's a lot of rambling.
Could have learned a lot about college if I would have just watched that scene a few more times. For me, I mean, mine is been said many a time, many a place, but very, very easily, just, I am not tough, I am Melon Lord! I mean, it's just so much fun. She's normally very subdued, like passive-aggressive, sassy, which is great, but she just was like, all right, cap off, I'm just going for that whole scene. So it was fun. It's nice. I don't know. She just kind of loosened up a little bit, and it was fun to see her be insane. So
Yeah.
that's a winner for me.
Thank
Also,
you.
still, your shirt is great, even though it's not me. But
Thanks.
Hi. I was wondering what your favorite moment on set was.
Oh.
honestly, for me, there was one, maybe two episodes where, so in our recording booth that we would go to, there were probably 6 individual mics, 7 or so. Yeah, so it's rare for everyone to be there at once. A lot of time, 1, maybe 2 people come in to record their lines, et cetera, et cetera. But there were a few days where it was just a full house. So there would be May, there would be Jack, there'd be me, there'd be Dante, we'd have Uncle Ira, we'd have like a Gray for Azula. Like there would just be so many people, and we could just do whole scenes without stopping. And like that is kind of when it came alive a little extra, because you would see part of the cartoon, and then you'd have everybody just sitting next to you, so you could hear them and also hear it like in your headphones. And it was just cool when like as many people as possible could be in the room. So
Yeah. Same. Favorite was just, getting to be in the room and working with people. Particular shout out, like my favorite, just like watch in awe as someone does their thing, was anytime I got to work with D. Bradley Baker.
Yes.
Because D did all the creature sounds on the show,
Oh my
and just
gosh.
like seeing him
Yeah.
find places in his head to make these sounds out
don't
of,
know.
and how is Momo happening in this weird like scrunch in the back of your throat, and Appa like he's using his whole, he just like, it's a very physical performance the way he
is.
does it. So getting to watch him was always a huge treat.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, hello there.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, fine. How are you?
Doing
very well,
well.
thank you.
Right on. So this question is primarily for Jessie. How do you relate to your characters?
How do I relate to my character?
Oh, yes.
Very, very easily, and more so as I grow. So I feel like everyone has their whatever growing phase. It could be in middle school, it could be in high school, it could be college, it could be all 3 of them. And I think when I was younger, I just didn't I wasn't able to appreciate her as much until now, just kind of finishing up end of teen years and then like college and just basically not giving a and like doing whatever the hell you want, and that it'll all work out. So like that is kind of her on a day-to-day basis. I also happen to have horrible eyesight, so that does indeed work out. I wear contacts, yay. I also have green eyes, so there you go. Those two things. As far as her attitude goes, that was very easy. That has been there since day one. So people are like, how do you get into character? Just like, exist and be annoyed by people being an idiot, you know. And so I would say our humor is very similar. But yeah, the whole like come from a long line of fancy, rich family people, that I do not share with her. But perhaps in the future, maybe somehow, that would be great. So, but yeah.
Really, thank you.
Sure.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is a little bit similar to him, but a lot of voice actors put a lot of themselves into characters. I'm wondering if either of you have ever taken anything from your characters and used it in your real life, like been in a situation like, oh, what would Toph do here? Or what would Sokka do here?
Yeah, I was at my parents' house, old TV, lost the remote, and so I threw a boomerang at the top.
So familiar.
First of all, I like your outfit. Second of all, yes, similar to this. I mean, more so literally in the past year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, I've really started just being like, yo, like just be Toph. Literally just be Toph. Anytime, I don't know, nervous about a situation, not to not be nervous, but just to like do it anyway.
To be like inspired by the confidence.
Correct, exactly. Yeah. And like, it's like a weirdly narcissistic thing to go back and forth with something you've already voiced, because you're just like, dig into yourself more, but it's helpful. So, yeah, I don't know. She's definitely helped, and also in just her development in Korra, which there are like lots of question marks about all sorts of things, but she still continues to just do whatever the hell she wants. And I'm like, just do that. Just keep doing that. As you get older, all will be fine. So yeah, I don't know. She helps me a lot more on a daily basis now, because I just wake up and be like, yeah, you're a good girl.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Sure.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. It's very loud.
You know you have a problem when everyone asks the question you're about to ask in advance.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
no.
I don't know.
So the one I just thought of off the top of my head was,
Freelance.
what was the line or scene that you read or said that helped you understand to a T how your character acts? So that you got the character. So you said the line, or you read it, it was like, okay, this is, and you said it out loud, and that's how, I was like, okay, after saying it, I was like, okay, this is how this character will act.
So the truth is, like, finding the character came in sort of that first scene with Katara on the iceberg, as where it's like just immediately finding, for me it was finding the humor in this guy who was very frustrated by the world and very put upon and not cool with everything that was going on around it. Like, that was an immediate, just like, built that character out of that first scene and felt like, there was then a ton to discover as we went, but that was really the foundation for me, was that perturbed older brother vibe. That was really what I built the character out of.
Yeah. And it's really annoying when somebody takes your answer right before you're going to tell it. Yeah. Similar thing. I mean, the audition sides that I was given for initially, auditioning for Toph was her first scene with the boulder and kind of first interactions with Aang and all this stuff. And so I got to sit with these lines with no context for the rest of the show, and just sit with this blind girl who was hiding herself away from her family in order to just follow her passion, because she knew she was good at it and knew that like there was something there for herself. And so, I mean, a lot comes from that first scene. I mean, it's so epic. After that, yes, Toph is great, but she comes in literally with like multiple bangs. So it just, I don't know, like it's her sass, it's her also cool, and I don't know, just kind of knowing that she's in control. basically. And that's kind of what I took from that first audition scene, and then that just kind of carried through the rest of the series. So, yeah.
Thank you. You came up with a great question
You did.
on the spot.
You did.
recovered well.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going? Hey.
So my question was, did you guys, when it came to like working with the show, did you for the most part, just read off the script, or did you ever get to improv at all?
There was a bit of
bit.
like, they would encourage, we do like a lot of takes of stuff, so they would definitely encourage like a bit of looseness with it, but it was definitely, scripted and all those jokes and stuff. But there would occasionally be, particularly for Sokka, there were a number of like sort of rambly, muttering to himself type of things that I would kind of be given some freedom to play with.
Usually Toph was pretty articulated. Anything ad-libbed would be just sound effects when you fall, when you hit something, when you're bending, that sort of thing. So then we'd like come up with 3 different takes with like how to bend something, and it could be like an or like or like a huh, like multiple different things. So yeah, those were ad-libbed for me.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for being very prominent and entertaining guys in the delicious pie that is Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes.
Secondly, okay, what would you specifically do if you guys were the Avatar? What would you guys do?
Oh man,
That
surf
is a large
mostly.
question.
Just I guess surf.
I would feel very burdened to take care of a lot of people. I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, I think have a nervous breakdown.
That's the first thing.
immediately
Have a
just,
nervous breakdown. Yeah.
Overwhelming amount of responsibility.
Roll with it, let the world break
yeah.
down.
Yep. Need to go to the
exactly.
spirit world, get some good counseling, kind of come back.
I'd
ready
probably
to go.
try to be pretty low key about it, though. I know like the various avatars have different levels of confidence on like I'm this or I'm that. I'd probably try to be pretty low key and just like do my work day
Very
to day
Peter Parker
as
of
best.
you.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's easier that way. But I'd fly
swear
a
to the
lot.
elements,
I'd
swear to
fly
me. Give me
everywhere.
that kind of thing.
There'd be no ground transportation. It'd be all in the air.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd get an appa. I don't know. We'd see. That'd be nice.
Thank you.
Sure. Ooh, your outfit! So fantastic.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Sorry, continue.
So, did you guys, when you first started on the show, anticipate the impact and longevity that Avatar would have?
Absolutely zero. Negative. Not,
Not
at
at
all.
Not at all. We made the pilot, and I was like, this is really cool. What a cool show. Didn't know if anything was going to happen with it. Didn't know if it was going to get picked up. I was like, this is a fun pilot. Then I saw the pilot, went to a screening, and they did like a big in-a-theater screening with like a bunch of different other Nickelodeon pilots of that sort of generation.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and seeing it,
didn't know that.
I was like, oh, this is very good. This is something. But even still, it was like cool, making some cool, like kind of not like a lot of other stuff that was on Nickelodeon at the time. Didn't know how it was gonna take, if people were gonna connect with it. And then the real like sign where I started to go like, oh, this is having an impact in a way I didn't expect was I think I was like 16 or 17 when we made the pilot, and so then I was in college as the show started to air, and that was when I figured it out, was when like friends of mine in college were like pulling me aside at parties and going like, hey man, like I know it's like some kid shit or whatever, like, whatever, but like that show's amazing. That I was like, oh cool, we're doing something here. And then it became more and more clear as like, again, to go back to just like getting to read the scripts and going like, oh, we're doing something here. We're like telling some important stories. We're talking about some really big ideas. I knew that like if an audience was there and we were giving them this, then it would have to be impactful because there's so much meaningful stuff in it.
Yeah, truly. I mean, yeah, the number of I had no idea. I was like 11 to early 14-ish in that window whenever I was recording things. And so then as I've gotten older and grown, like I'd say primarily just young girls in general, but especially young girls, and then anybody with a sight problem at all, whether it's they're legally blind or they just have really bad vision, maybe they don't have eye, like just one's missing from an accident. Like so many people have reached out or have come to meet me or whatever and just be like, this character helped me so much because there just weren't there just weren't. And then this is somebody who's so strong, and she doesn't lean on other people. She wants them. She's still human. She's motion, but like she figured her own stuff out, and like had a whole life. And it made me feel more normal. And that was, I mean, that's, you can't ask for more than that out of a show, right? So it's pretty great.
All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi.
Hey.
So first I wanted to say that you guys have both been like such an important part of me growing up. I loved that show, like as it was coming out. It was awesome. Toph being disabled really helped me because I grew up disabled, and Sokka was my favorite character.
I understand.
Good choice.
But my question was, I actually want to become a voice actor, so I was wondering if you guys had any advice for someone who's trying to get into that field.
A lot of it's playing with sounds. So like you're born with, a certain amount of reservoir of sounds, I suppose. And then a lot of it is just practice, kind of stretching your sound kind of, I guess, barriers and just pushing beyond what you normally sound like. And I think recording yourself and then listening back, because how we think we sound is very, very different. And then we listen back and we're like, that's not exactly what I thought. Or like, oh, that turned out quite well. So a lot of just spending time with yourself and your voice. I'd say that's the first step. And like, what do you want to sound like? What kind of characters do you want to voice? Do they not exist yet? What do they sound like? So it's just a lot of playing. That's definitely kind of first step in my mind.
Totally agree. And then also, voice acting is acting. That's such a big part of it, is that like you really have to also like work on your sound, work on your breath, work on reading a script and being able to analyze a character and figure out what's going on in a scene, and really the acting part too.
Once you've done those things, I think first of all, it just gets harder and harder, right? We have Google and we have the internet, and we just have so many people able to submit things online and different websites to have reels and all that sort of thing. So I'd say getting a solid reel done.
Make a demo.
Right, a demo reel. And then just go. Reach out to places, find websites, find a friend of a friend who needs a voice for a thing, and then do it, and then add it to your resume, and then just start to collect content.
Yeah.
I think content and persistence, those are your two, and you just keep doing those over and over again. And then, eventually things hit, and then things don't, and then things hit again. That's kind of the best that we've got, which might not be very helpful, but hopefully it is.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
I was wondering if there was a line or a scene from the show that either didn't make the cut or just something that you wish a character could have said.
That right there. That was the scene. They were actually pretty good. I don't know if we saw a lot of stuff before the final version, which I guess is a little bit of a bummer, but they usually sent us the final copy of what the script was going to be before we went into record. I mean...
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of, they weren't over recording. Sometimes you'll work on a show where you're doing a lot of extra stuff that won't eventually make the cut, because they're discovering it and they're finding it. But that show came really well honed, so there wasn't a lot of cutting room floor material.
I mean, Mike and Brian are, first of all, geniuses, as we all know, but second of all, very clearly had a vision, right? 3 seasons, this is the story, these are the characters, and so I think a lot of that was reflected in their writing. They were very much just like, okay, this is the scene, this is where the show, this episode will start and end, and there wasn't a lot of fat to trim, and so we got in, and it was very short, usually crisp recording session, so that doesn't make this answer very fun, but no, we pretty much everything you saw was kind of what we recorded, I think, to a T, honestly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hello.
Hey.
I haven't really thought of a question, but mostly I wanted to say thank you. When I started watching Avatar, I was right in the middle of school and depression hit hard. And your show,
I feel,
through the 12 times I watched it in a row, got me through all of it.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you. I'm glad it did.
I left school, I pursued my dreams, and
Well, that's
I
amazing.
feel so much better, even though my life is not.
Yes.
But it is.
Avatar has helped me so much.
That's
and I'm
fantastic.
glad that I get to say thank you to you, both of you.
Oh, of course. I mean,
Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
that. Thank
Thank you very much.
Hello. Thanks
Hi.
for taking time to come and visit this panel.
Thanks for having us. Thank you all for coming. I mean, you are the reason. You're the reason that we're here. So thank you. Thank you a lot.
My question would be, if each of you could meet your respective character and say one thing, what would it be?
When? When am I meeting him? Is it early?
Yeah.
Is it
At your time of convenience.
okay? I think just popping in really early and just going like, "Hey man, watch out for eclipses." That'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Probably, yeah. You can be a bit of a gentler teacher. Even I promise that the student will learn, because she's a bit of a hardball, which, that's why we love her. But I feel like there were moments where there was a bit of miscommunication because she was just like, "Do," and then Aang's like, "Wah!" So yeah, probably like you can love a little bit more. Not everybody's going to close you off. / not everybody's out to get you.
I think she was just still slightly bit jilted. She never got her Zuko bonding moment.
Well, but she did now. If any of you follow me on Instagram.
Or this person right here.
Yeah, I got to hang out with Dante a lot this year, and we got to romp around New York a few months ago. So it has been fulfilled. But yes, she could have just been very salty that she never got to hang out with Zuko. So it's very probable.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
Hi there.
Hey.
I know not everyone got to have the life-changing adventure with Zuko, but my question really revolved around what was your moment where you thought your character evolved or had this great moment of development? Because obviously you both start with characters that are broken or flawed or in some way.
There were, is a long arc for Sokka. There were a lot of really great moments. The one that pops for me the hardest is the Master episode, Sokka's Master, where he, trains in swordcraft and builds this space sword. And I think like a big part of Sokka's arc was dealing with the feeling of like inadequacy. Like he's in this world of all these incredibly powerful people, and having to find in himself that he was enough, that his like leadership and smarts and hard work were enough in this incredibly magical, powerful team. So that was the episode where I think he really admitted to himself that feeling of inadequacy and was able to find something that was his.
I think probably for Toph in season 3, when finally Aang started to get all of his pieces together, and she didn't need to be the one controlling everything when just dealing with, teaching earthbending and just kind of leading that element in the group. And she kind of took a back seat and was like, okay, you do this now. It's your turn. So I think that was probably her most pivotal moment. It's very subtle, I think, but just she's normally needing to be right and needs to be in control and is constantly like fixing and tugging. And then she just kind of stops and she's like, all right, you're good. You can go now. So that's probably hers, I would say, as far as the story arc goes. Probably most important. Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much. Avatar: The Last Airbender was a huge part of my childhood, and I very much appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna. There you go. Yeah, pick it up. Pick it up.
Good job.
Simple solutions.
What is the funniest thing you ever had to do on set?
For Avatar, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. Different answers. All right.
So yeah, I guess my answer would be some of the long ADR sessions. So we would do an original record of the show, and then it would get animated, and then we'd go back in and we'd do ADR to fill in any gaps or to re-record any lines that didn't quite sync up right or anything like that. So just in like a practical on-set way, just being in a booth, doing like 30 minutes of just trying to perfectly match like a series of like, and so sometimes there would be like a long falling sequence, and just like 3 to 4 times in a row of that felt the dumbest.
Yeah, it's similar because the sounds are really, well, first of all, I think the sounds are what make it. They are like the transition moments when you accidentally hit something, when you fall, when somebody like flicks you, like those little things. And I think I must have been falling during some sort of battle because they wanted a really specific guttural ugh like that, and I just wasn't doing it right. And I think I spent 5 minutes straight, and so must have been like 27 different takes or something of just me trying to get this correct. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I sound like anymore. I just am like making random sounds. So yeah, I don't know. Just the repetitive nature in the studio makes you feel insane when you're on take like 12 and you're like, the word "the" sounds strange now.
Oh yeah, words lose all meaning.
All meaning. All meaning.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Hello.
Hey.
Just like everyone else, like the show was a big part of my life. I, watched it as it came out, and I've rewatched it multiple times. And I don't know if I can lift my sleeve up high enough, but I also have a tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, it's well done.
I can't I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's beautiful.
But my main question was for Toph actually, and I didn't realize that you didn't have great eyesight. But my question was kind of if you did anything in particular because Toph was blind to kind of like get in character or see how that was.
I've always been very much a sound person. I'm very into music. I sung before I could talk, so sound has been very important in like dance and musicals, just lots of music. So it was very, I don't know, I guess relatively natural to be sound-based. As far as the earth thing goes, I did used to run around with no shoes on before that was socially unacceptable, except I did do it at San Diego Comic-Con when I played myself for the weekend, which was fun. But yeah, I don't know, I think the easiest thing is just some moments I would just close my eyes, which obviously that seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, just kind of what you would feel like if you were just stuck using only all of your other senses, and you're just kind of out of it. So there'd be some lines, some moments, probably the more subtle kind of intimate moments where I'd just like think about it, close my eyes for a second, and then like move forward. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well.
All right.
I just got a good question about, was there any points in the script where it just left you completely shocked at all?
Well, when they were first, the names. This always happens. When they first were preparing for the comet and then like everything didn't happen the first time, I was like, oh, not yet. Okay. I was like ready for there to be like a full-blown battle and like somebody, there to be an answer. It was like, okay, great, we've completed this. And it just was like this weird climax and then like, oh, just kidding, we have to try again. So I guess that was a little bit of a shock because I wasn't expecting that to happen so early and then like not be resolved. So I don't know, that was just kind of like a surprise moment, but then obviously made the last season build up way better. So yeah.
UA's death at the end of season 1 was a real like, whoa, okay, we're doing it. We're doing it this show. Which was, again, I keep talking about reading the script, but that to me was like that first experience of taking in the show. And that was a real like, okay. And I felt a lot of pressure to bring that moment to life to experience that death for that character. Really cool. That's maybe my favorite episode of the show is the season 1 finale 2-parter.
When Azula lost it at the end too, I also got kind of freaked out. I was like, oh gosh, I was like, she's just really, really gone. So when I was reading through that, I was like, yep, she's lost it. I'm freaked out. I've like chills from just all of this madness on the page. Yeah.
Oh, also bloodbending, because that was just like a like.
Yeah.
What?
That's creepy.
Reading
You like
that
feel
was
that
really-
one.
yeah,
You're like,
that was
oh,
exciting.
okay, no.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was.
Hello.
Hi.
So my question was, what is your favorite part of the story from Avatar?
So for me, I do think the Siege of the North stuff at the end of season 1, I think it's like a really great culminating moment of so much coming together, and then again the finale.
Yeah.
I love and was especially surprised by and impressed by for at the time was a kid show that wasn't doing there wasn't a lot of serialization on Nickelodeon. feeling that we were like telling these stories that really rewarded the long-term view, you know, that like if you were there and you were paying attention to all this stuff, that finale, like, boy, so much comes together and you really feel Aang's entire journey and everything he's earned along the way pay off. So
I actually really liked when Sokka went to go study and like become a sword master. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of cool because he was always just a little bit left out, and I felt like after that they were all just equally strong, and it was, I don't know, for some reason that just is like a highlight of the whole story of like, this piece that just felt so not included in all of these benders, like found something that he is very comfortable and like powerful, confident in, and I don't know, and he helped a lot. I mean, throughout the whole thing, but like he was very good at it. So I don't know, I thought that was kind of nice to finally be like, they all have their thing, you know? So that was kind of cool. I don't know. That's
Thank
me.
you.
Sure.
Thank you.
I think we have time for one more.
Oh, perfect.
How's it going, you guys?
Going well.
Good.
One
So
more.
I wanted to ask, as a starting voice actor, I wanted to know, how do you find auditions and how do you find out that things like this are happening?
It's a great question. Do you have?
I mean, this just came through my agent. I was doing live action stuff at the time and had a voiceover agent, and so they'd just send me auditions. I don't know, in sort of a cold setting, if you don't have that.
Yeah, so that's a similar thing to kind of what we were talking about before. If you're like building a reel and doing lots of like non-union or just kind of like side projects that aren't part of like a whole series, that sort of thing. Once you collect those, I feel like it's easier to start getting like a manager / then maybe an agent. And then agents, I mean, that's their purpose, is to find these shows and these auditions in order to give them to you. Facebook has a lot of helpful groups for, I know at least theater, photography, music, probably voiceover, where people just need people. So finding those groups in like whatever city you're in, and there's probably like, I don't know, Sacramento voice actors or like Los Angeles voices or something like that. And just kind of finding those groups. And that's a good place to start for like, you know, one-off or kind of non-union auditions, I would say. And also just, I mean, sometimes creating your own content. If you have friends who are, I don't know, animator people, or if they have music things, I don't know. But creating your own stuff to then just add your voice into as well can also work to just build up content, you know? So yeah, it's hard, but yeah, you just keep going. That's the biggest thing.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Sure thing.
So my question is, what social media platforms are you guys on so I can keep up with you? And do you guys ever get like random questions like, oh, you sound just like that person, and you're like,
Yes, I'm on Instagram. I have a Facebook page, but I don't really use it that much. My Instagram is my normal name, which my birth name is Michaela. It's Michaela Mostly. And Jessie Flower, I came up with that when I was 6. It's a story. lots of things have happened. But yeah, on Instagram. Not as much since I voiced Toph when I was like 12, 13. So usually she's a little younger, and it was just like very angry all the time. Like that's, and now I sing and do other things. So a lot of times my voice is sitting up instead of down and kind of back. So I don't sound like her a lot, I don't think. Some people think I sound exactly like her when I talk. Some people are like, I don't hear it. So I don't really get stopped or noticed, I would say. But I think you do. Maybe.
Oh, in like my life? Like
yes.
People are,
yeah, like randomly at the grocery store. Or whatever.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
No, usually not.
Are you sure about
I feel like I'm a lot. I mean, so yeah. I think like in my regular life, I'm a little more just like sort of down here mumbling, so I can sort of hide a little. But I have had the occasional like, where do I know that from? When people are just
Right.
and then anyone. Yeah. And then people who know it but are just meeting me, I frequently get a like, oh, that's weird to see coming out of your large bearded head. Why do I still sound like a 15-year-old boy? I don't know. In terms of social media, I have an Instagram, and I posted as recently as last February or something like that. So you can check it out if you would like to not hear from me. And then also I do a bunch of sketch stuff on YouTube with my buddy Chris. We have a sketch channel and put out a bunch of stuff that I'm really proud of on there. So Chris and Jack, we are called Chris and Jack. That's my real social media thing. So
thank you.
Go.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you very much.
you all
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you all so much for coming. Seriously.
We're doing a photo op thing that you can go by the information booth in the autograph hall. We're doing that like right now. We're going straight to
Right
that.
afterwards, all right.
And then tomorrow.
Yeah, we're hanging out all weekend, so we can sign things, we can take pictures with you. If you can't make the photo op right after this, hopefully we get to see you if we haven't already. And yeah, thanks for coming out, guys.
Thank you all.
Give it up for Jack and Jessie, everybody. Thank you.